broadcast audio, podium on. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Saper,
Here.
Councilmember Tull,
Here.
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Roberts,
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Palumbi,
Here.
Councilmember Graves.
Here. All right, next up, Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight will be led by Councilmember Saper.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Second with Anna. All in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next item, comments from the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak this evening, please step up to the podium. Good evening.
No.
Oh,
I'm not echoey, so I
it
can.
says it's on. Okay,
Okay.
there we go.
My name is Valerie Swearingen, 2408 Fayette. I have 3 kids, 2 of whom are students at North Kansas City High School, so I'm here to talk on agenda item number 12. Before I go on, I want to offer my apologies, and I'm going to read it so I get it right. When y'all enacted the latest mandate that will expire on the 15th, I thought it was unnecessary as the school district already had one in place. However, when I heard the news that the district would no longer require masks upon returning from the break, I was shocked and extremely disappointed in their decision. I found myself grateful that our city had a backup plan that would require masks for the first 2 weeks back in school. And to that, I apologize for being doubtful, and instead I say thank you for having that in place. Now that the district has dropped the mask requirement, I am in full support of extending the public health order. My teenage children have been fully vaccinated since summer. They are not yet eligible for their booster, so therefore they're not fully vaccinated at this current time. I know the elementary kids are eligible, but they may not have access to the vaccines yet, so there's risk to them as well. With the number of cases going up, particularly in children right now, I think this is not the appropriate time to let up on our precautionary measures. Even though the symptoms may be less severe with this current variant, quarantines are still required. It's not in the best interest of our students to miss 5+ days of school if they test positive to a virus that can be avoided. It's not in the best interest of students to have a reduction in teachers and staff for 5+ days of school if they also test positive for this virus that can be avoided. It's not in the best interest of our students for school to go virtual again because we are not doing our part to protect our teachers and support staff. You have the power to keep our students safe during this pandemic. It's very simple. The only thing you need to do is say yes when a motion is offered to extend the ordinance. We've done right by the bars, restaurants, and entertainment venues in North Kansas City, and I'd like to see the same done for our kids.
Thank you. Further public comments?
I'm Susan Taylor, and I live at 2309 Erie, and I agree with most of the things that Valerie already said, and I do thank the council for setting that up. And just in addition to what she said, I also substitute teach sometimes. And going into the school, like when you have specials, you can have 10 different classes come into your classroom that day that you teach. And by having the mask mandate, it really it encourages you more. They're short on subs anyway to go into the classroom because you can say, oh, could you please, politely ask the student to pull their mask up for you, whereas if you don't have that, then there's no opportunity to do that. I also feel that having the mask mandate, besides many of the things Valerie mentioned, it also, and I've talked to some, like my daughter's teacher about this, she feels that they can let the students work together more, that they can interact with each other, whereas without the mask mandate, she feels that they would have to be separated and they wouldn't get to do so many fun group activities. So I've noticed the virus is here, and we need to adapt our life to it instead of hoping to close the schools by masking and social distancing. Hopefully we can work together to mitigate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Further public comments? Good evening.
Hello. I'm Shannon Wheeler, and I live at 2018 Fayette. I'd like to also go along with my neighbor's sentiments about masking. I've got a kindergartner and a second grader at Briarcliff, and feel that's in the best interest of the health of our community, our children, our staff, and the students at Briarcliff. And I also have some sentiments from another neighbor. Can I share those now?
Please go ahead.
Okay, this is from Catherine Gower. The easiest way to continue keeping our children healthy at school is to extend the mask mandate. This is backed up by Clay County Public Health Center's own recommendations based on the county's current positivity and hospitalization rates. Based on those rates, Clay County recommendation is to utilize 3 or 4 methods to slow the spread from the list they have provided. Physical distancing is proven to be basically impossible for large classrooms of kids. For reference, her children are in a classroom of 55 students, and there are several classrooms roughly the same size at Briarcliff this year. Contact tracing, hand washing, and cleaning and sanitizing the facilities should be a given, but the continued protection of masking is critical ingredient to keep the number of cases at Briarcliff low as they have been. Transmission rates right now are especially high thanks to Omicron. More and more people I know have recently tested positive, so this seems like an especially bad time to do away with school masking. Please continue to protect our kids. Thank you, Catherine Gower. So I'd like to just back up that the sentiments of my neighbors here who have children who live in the community and go to school here, that further masking, especially being back from break and holidays, as we go into what used to just be our cold and flu season, that our children, we should protect those in our community by continuing to remain masked. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comments? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 11.
Consideration of assignment and assumption of purchase and sale agreement, certain real property, community known as 1400 Nodaway in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri. Bill number 6757, ordinance number 9454.
Kim.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to call on the city's councilor, Tom Barzee.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. With this mask on, can everyone hear me okay? Very good. As you'll recall, several months ago, I was given the charge to acquire, or at least to negotiate with and see if we could acquire the Purina Mill property. And that's what this is about. We used a straw man, if you will, to acquire the property, to enter into a contract. It's not yet acquired. The contract, the purchase and sale agreement, is in front of you this evening for your consideration. That's part of course, the assignment where the straw person assigns his rights under the real estate contract to the city of North Kansas City. And as you'll notice, the purchase price is $75,000. Now, in that regard, I've had a council person approach me before the meeting and asked me that he's hearing, people have asked why the city is buying this. And I thought that I will briefly tell you what I have been told previously and what the facts are. The facts are, this dates back a number of years ago, at least 7 or so years, when the city went to acquire, when the city noticed that it was a dangerous building. In fact, there was a hearing held in this chambers, where an evidentiary hearing with parties testifying, et cetera, in front of the city's building official, and by code that is the community development director, Ms. Copeland, And I represented the interest of Ms. Copeland in that hearing. Expert witnesses were put on, including structural engineers, about the dangerous condition of that building. It was, in fact, found to be a dangerous building. And the owner of that property, the problem was this. The owner of the property did not have the financial wherewithal, candidly, to tear down the building. In fact, didn't have the money to even pay the taxes on it. FYI, the owner of the building, at that time at least, acquired the property from ADM in, I believe it was 2001, for $1. You know how deeds always say $1 or $10 another good and valuable consideration? This literally was $1. We got a copy of the check, and we obtained a judgment against that owner in the amount of some $5 million. And you say, hey, that's great. But at the end of the day, what happened was he didn't pay taxes, and therefore it was acquired at a tax sale. And when you acquire a piece of property at a tax sale, what happens is it eliminates all liens on the property. That's why a bank at a tax sale would come in if they had a lien on it, and they would bid the tax amount, and they would acquire the property that way. And so, as a result, that eliminated the city's $5 million judgment, if you will, on lien on that property. Now, we still have a judgment against the former owner, but I'd like to submit that he's probably judgment-proof, and we're not able to collect on that. But with that said, the primary reason the city has an interest in it, and has for a number of years now, is its dangerous condition. And it's dangerous for several reasons, but the most obvious are, I think, a couple. Number one, chunks of concrete have been falling off that, and as you know, it literally sits between railroad tracks on the north side from the BNSF, and on the south side, that whole yard, of course, is the Norfolk Southern. And so you have that could cause all sorts of problems with concrete falling down with the rails that close. And secondly, what you have is, I think we've all seen graffiti up on the top. That does not just automatically appear, okay? That means that people have gotten up there, and this is a dangerous building. Mr. Harris has sent me several photographs of different things that have gone on down there, and candidly is very concerned about that particular property. The city acquires the property, as I've been directed to do. It allows us to address these dangerous conditions and hopefully to move forward in pretty short order with your blessing, of course, to have that structure, all the structures torn down, et cetera. I hope that answers questions that some of you may have had before the meeting, but that's the history of it. The order that was entered at that time to show is literally, I think, 80 some odd pages long, including, expert structural engineers' reports, et cetera. Be glad to answer any other questions that you might have.
All right, councilmember questions. Councilmember Graves.
Yeah, just to clarify, make sure everybody understands in the public, even though we do not currently own the building as the city, speaking on behalf of the city, because we're aware and because there's been an evidentiary hearing stating that it is a dangerous building, even though we don't own the building, if something were to happen there and someone were to be, God forbid, injured or killed on that property, then you're afraid that we would be
There is some
held
potential
liable.
liability there, absolutely, Mr. Graves. Good point. Sorry, I didn't intend to omit that. I just didn't remember. But yes, that is certainly one of the problems. Plus, you have an obligation to protect the public health, safety, and welfare, and that being in a rail yard like it is makes it especially, in my opinion, dangerous.
Thank you. Oh, keep going.
So just to follow up with that, I'm trying to paint that picture for people because the price tag to demolish the building is going to be astronomical. And so I'm trying to paint a picture for people because, believe me, everyone up here is going to get asked about this. Why are we spending all this money? And so we're worried. What you're telling us is that somebody might be injured, the building might collapse, something horrible might happen, and we're liable in that regard. And so that is why the purchase price for the property is not that exorbitant, but the numbers being floated about the demo of the building are in the millions of dollars.
I don't know what, else I can say. Even if you were not found to be liable in a courtroom, it doesn't mean you don't have some moral obligation to help eliminate what is otherwise a dangerous building. Remember, this city has, never to this extent, but we've acquired, I don't know, Ms. Copeland, help me, we've torn down a couple of other buildings, residential structures over the years as well that are found to be dangerous. And yes, we end up with the lien on those properties, or in this case, we'd end up owning it, but clearly, you never recover your full money back when you demolish it, and then you just have a piece of property to be able to sell or what have you. I agree, and especially in this instance, since its location is in the middle of a rail yard, there's probably not, I don't know this, but there's probably not a huge demand to buy it even when it's cleaned up.
All right. I just want to thank you, Tom. I know it's been a goal of council for years to get this done. I mean, since before I was on council, that this has been, and now for us to finally be close to acquiring this, to be able to take care and remediate this problem, and I appreciate the work that you put into this. Was there a hand there?
First reading.
Councilmember Smith.
Second.
And there's a second. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
An ordinance
First reading,
adopting and approving assignment and assumption agreement of purchase and sale between John Sweeney as a signer and the city of North Kansas City, Missouri as a signee regarding certain real property commonly known as 1400 Nodaway in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri.
I move that Bill number 7657 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9454.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Saper,
Yes.
Councilmember Toll,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Palumbi,
Yes.
Councilmember Graves.
Yes.
An ordinance adopting and approving assignment and assumption agreement of purchase and sale between John Sweeney as a signer and the city of North Kansas City, Missouri as a signee regarding certain real property commonly known as 1400 Nodaway in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri. Item 12, Emergency Public Health Order Extension, Bill number 7659, ordinance number 9456.
All right. We do this routine every month. It feels like. You should all be pretty familiar with the underlying issue here. I think it's vital we keep our kids in school learning in person. You heard it from the crowds. I think this is one strategy to help do that. It helps the subs. It helps the administrators. It helps keep the students from getting sick. I think this is how we stay in school. We can't afford to go back to virtual. People concerned about economy, these other issues. Going back to virtual hurts those things. I think it's vital we keep in-person learning, and I think this is one tool, one of the tools that we can control that helps do that. Councilmember Smith.
All right, again, since my name, as usual, is attached to this one, I'll offer some talking points. So this affects only the schools in North Kansas City. This isn't a broad mask mandate. And the issue we're facing stems from a letter that the Attorney General sent out to school boards and health departments threatening legal action if they were to extend health orders to protect children, which is shocking and embarrassing to me as a resident of the state of Missouri that this would come from one of our top officials. So, as a city, we have the right to impose a mask mandate on the schools to protect the children. Kids are legally required to be in school. They're in close quarters. They're indoors. It's also cold outside, so generally they're not going to spend a ton of time outside anyway. And this offers us an opportunity to protect the kids, to keep them in school, in classrooms where we all seem to agree that that's the best place for them to learn. We're going to protect the teachers, and in an indirect way, help support our healthcare systems, who are also overburdened. I've heard pushback that say, if you're scared, wear a mask, send your kid with a mask. It's not what this is about. Masks protect the wearer, but they also protect others. And the primary purpose of a mask is to protect others in the community, not necessarily just to protect yourself. So if one kid is wearing a mask in a classroom full of people without them, they're not going to be adequately protected. The vaccine rollout, we're all excited that 5 to 12-year-olds have been given clearance, but as Valerie pointed out, that's not, they're not fully boosted yet, and it's been a little slower than we hoped. So we're giving them time, those who want their kids vaccinated, to get them fully protected. Omicron is here. It's 4 or more times as contagious as prior strains, with the U.S. hitting over 1 million daily cases, and that's just reported cases, not to account for home tests and people who don't test. And Children's Mercy is over 200% higher COVID cases than they have at any point in the pandemic. So there's just a lot going on. I think this is just a hands-down no-brainer to protect the kids. So that's my take on it. If others have thoughts, I'd be happy to hear them.
I saw Councilmember Robertson. We'll get over to Councilmember Saper.
I think Councilman Smith pretty much said everything I needed to say, but the next 30 to 60 days, especially for kids in school, are going to be incredibly important coming back from break. It's going to be the most contagious time. There's a lot of asymptomatic people, but they're going to spread further in our community. Yeah, I think you said everything we need to say, so first reading.
Second.
Okay, further public, or skipping all over the place. Councilmember Saper, we'll go that route.
No one strategy to deal with an epidemic is going to solve the problem. We have to use as many tools as we can. Vaccination is a major tool. Distancing, a major tool. Masks, properly worn masks, by the way, is a major tool. A lot of the masks are not properly worn. You have to prevent the aerosols from getting out and infecting people. And this is the least we can do to try to protect our children.
Thank you. You know, and I'll just add, Children's Mercy hit their new high again of 25 kids, and they have 293 staff members out. So, you know, the equations are just going in the wrong direction. So, like I said, one step to help. Was there further council member comments? I'm for the mask mandate. There we go.
I'm for the mask
Well,
mandate, but
we're
I want to say that I don't want to hear any threats to any council members for voting on something that's important to the entire community. I have gotten word that one of our council members was threatened while leaving here for spreading fear and lies. I'm not for that. I'm not okay with that. We as a community, I cannot believe anyone would support that kind of mentality. And I know we're not here to stand for it, and we're definitely not going to be threatened for making decisions for our community.
Thank you. Very well said. There's a first and second. Any further council member comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. She
Who
wants
was
to roll
the
back.
second? Who was the second?
Me.
I'm just pointing. She raised her hand. I know. Whoever wants it. There.
Okay.
You got it. Okay. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No.
No.
Motion carries.
An ordinance approving Public Health Order 22-007 regarding the wearing of face masks in certain schools K through 12 due to COVID-19 in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri, and authorizing the extension of the effective period of the current Order 21-006 dated December 8, 2021, as modified from January 15, 2022 until February 5, 2022.
I move that Bill number 7659 be placed on second and final reading and passes ordinance number 9456.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
Councilmember Tull?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Clevenger's not here. Councilmember Roberts?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Palumbi?
Yes.
Councilmember Graves?
No.
6-1, motion carried. An ordinance approving Public Health Order 22-007 regarding the wearing of face masks in certain schools K through 12 due to COVID-19 in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri, and authorizing the extension of the effective period of the current Order 21-006 dated December 8, 2021, as modified from January 15, 2022 until February 5, 2022. Number 13, discussion and election of the City Council Liaison to the Equity and Inclusion Committee.
Thank you. So for this one, Councilmember Tull's time is up as the liaison on the committee. And I just want to start by saying I truly appreciate the work you've done. You know, you guys really had to start at the ground and build this up, and you've done a lot of work helping the group get to where they are. So appreciate your work on that. With that being said, nominations are open for a new council liaison to the Equity Inclusion Committee. Any nominations?
Yes.
Councilmember Toll.
I'd like to also say I'm very proud of the committee and the work that they've done. They've done a wonderful job. And I would like to nominate Councilmember Palumbi to take my place.
Okay, we have Palumbi. Further councilmember nominations?
I agree.
I would like to nominate Councilmember Toll to continue because of the outstanding work that she has done, but I realize she may be tired and exhausted.
Should we at least give her a? Okay. Do you accept that nomination? There, I'll give it to you first.
I very much appreciate that, but I do think it's time for me to step down and let someone else. I am on a couple committees, so I was trying to spread the love, and I'd love for Ward 4 to come in and take over for equity and inclusion, and they're excited.
All right, so I'll close the nomination, and you accept that. We'll vote on you real quick here. All in favor of Councilmember Palumbi being the council liaison, please say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. You are the new council liaison. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to look for that overtime check.
Number 14, amendment to real estate and sale agreement between the city and Blume NKC LLC, extending due diligence period. Bill number 7660, ordinance number 9457.
All right, so I can tackle this, or I can pass it to Tom. Simply a 90-day extension on the agreement to continue the progress on due diligence. Is there any council member questions on that, or what that is?
Extension of 60 days.
Councilmember Roberts.
First reading.
Second.
Second. Okay, further discussion, Councilmember Graves.
I just want to say I'm in favor of giving them an extension. I really like this project, and I wish they were here though, because I was going to just ask them like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going? What's taking? Why an
I think-
extension?"
yeah.
I would have liked to kind of have asked them. I don't
Then I'll
know if
kick over to
anybody
whoever
knows.
knows why the extension's occurring.
I'm in favor of it,
Tom.
just to clarify.
Tom, very briefly, do we have an idea why they're asking for this extension here?
Of what?
Why they want
The need for the 90-day extension.
Yeah, it was in I tried to put it in my memo here to everyone, that one of the main reasons, candidly, in doing their due diligence, the city has requested that they do a water and sewer study as well, and they figure since they're doing that, that should be part of their own due diligence then, so that if something comes back negative, they could technically back out of it or whatever, okay? And so, it's not that they're dragging their feet at all. Some of these things take longer, and this was kind of standard that we put in. We drafted the purchase, and no, they actually drafted. Their lawyer drafted it. We approved it. That's right.
Perfect, thank you. I think that, further
Yeah,
questions?
that answers my question. It's a cool project, very forward-thinking. I'm looking forward to it. I was just curious,
Yeah.
just what was going on, what stage they were in. So hopefully there's no issue with sewer and water and move forward.
Yeah, hopefully not. Thank you. Further council member comments? There is a motion on the floor. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? No. Motion carries.
An ordinance adopting and approving amendment to real estate agreement by and between the city of North Kansas City, Missouri and Blume NKC LLC regarding certain real property generally located on Burlington between East 29th Avenue and East 32nd Avenue in North Kansas City, Missouri.
I move that Bill number 7660 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9457.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
Councilmember Toll?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Palumbi?
Yes.
Councilmember Graves?
Yes.
An ordinance agreement by and between the city of North Kansas City, Missouri and Blume NKC LLC regarding certain real property generally located on Burlington between East 29th Avenue and East 32nd Avenue in North Kansas City, Missouri. Number 15, approval of accounts due and payable by the city through December 31st, 2021. Bill number 7658, ordinance number 9455.
First reading.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed? No. Motion carries.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through December 31st, 2021.
I move that Bill number 7658 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9455.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember
Things are
Saper.
falling apart.
Yes.
Councilmember Tull.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Palumbi.
Yes.
Councilmember Graves.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through December 31st, 2021.
Okay, I'm going to roll backwards here. Next up, staff reports. I did notice on the consent agenda before, and Councilmember Smith just pointed out to me again. Someone else had also pointed it out. I don't want to take credit away. I got this message several times. It shows Martin Newton's term expiring January 1st, 2022.
Thanks for your service, Martin.
Yeah. that was the quickest roll I've ever seen.
Okay, sorry, I'll fix that.
Just so on council knows, I believe that is 2024 should be the correct date. We'll go 2024 unless I see strong opposition.
Sounds good.
Thank you, and thank you for, no, I just wanted to make sure that was
Welcome.
clear as
I
well.
didn't have a resolution for it, though.
We do both. Bye. Staff report.
I'd like to call on the finance manager, Nick Hawkins.
It says it's on.
I just wanted to announce the new utility drop box has been arrived last week and was installed the same day by our Public Works crew, so big thanks to them. It's actually a little bit further south than where our previous one was, and it's a little bit more nondescript, but looks more like a post box that you would see. We'll add some more, not decoration, but signage to it, so it'll make it more clear. But we have actually already had some people utilize it. Just wanted to let you know that that's been installed, and we'll put it in the week in review this week as well.
Thank you.
So I'd like to just kind of start off the new year with some thank yous. I'd like to thank Chief Hargis for manning the ship while I was off and away on vacation, so I'd like to thank him.
And record timing. That was a good, solid meeting, too.
I'd like to give a big thanks to our Public Works crew for their work to remove all the snow and ice that we got earlier this week, and they are prepping for round 2, which sounds like we will get later on this week. I'd like to thank all of our city staff, as well as our management team, and especially our IT. We have shifted some of our operations to protect our staff for continuity of operations. Therefore, some of us are working remote. We have shifted to AB scheduling where possible. So I would like to thank everybody for their diligence. And again, big thanks to Stephen and Chris, who has helped us from technology to make that possible. Those things don't just magically happen, and I would like to kind of take a little bit of a moment to thank them for their work and continued work. As you guys have noted, we're in for some turbulent waters in the next couple of weeks here. So I do want to thank everybody for all of their due diligence and the work to come as we navigate these waters. And then my last item would be, I would like to just kind of put a note out there that we are still accepting applications for our inaugural Citizens Academy. It begins on January 20th, and we still have some openings. Should anybody out there wish to participate and kind of maybe get a little bit of an understanding of how their local government works.
Fantastic. Thank you. Councilmember comments, starting with Councilmember Saper.
Just so people understand that I got my December water bill on December 27th. And I'm sure that others have experienced similar kinds of problems. And if you don't get your water bill in a timely fashion because of mailing problems, please contact City Hall, and you can arrange to make your payment then. Thank you.
Mine's a little bit longer today. I wanted to thank Mayor DeLong for guiding us through the process of distributing the Harris charitable funds. It's always good to push that money out as soon as we can. Thank you to all of the concerned families and residents that emailed and came in and spoke. It's so much easier as your representatives to make decisions with your input. Congratulations to Councilmember Palumbi on her appointment to the Equity and Inclusion Committee. I know you'll do really well there. They're doing excellent work. The first year was laying a lot of groundwork for this new committee, and they're at a very exciting place right now. So I'm excited, and you're not completely through with me. I will still be coming. And I'll see you there. There is a big thank you to staff for making it all come together every day, whether it be Public Works, dealing with the weather, or getting the box back out there as soon as it was delivered the same day, making online happen, Stephen, going to a flexible schedule because that's what you need to do to keep the staff safe and have enough people to run the city. You're making great decisions for the people of North Kansas City and the employees of North Kansas City, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith.
A few things. Big thanks to Harrah's. What a wonderful community member we have. $100,000 is very generous, and it makes a big difference. Reading through those applications and seeing what the funds have been used for in prior years, it's pretty humbling to see what those monies do. Equity and Inclusion Committee, I want to thank Tara Adler for her service. She was a wonderful member of the inaugural committee. And for Martin, my neighbor, getting it done, thank you for serving. I want to thank Public Works, snow plows coming around real quick. I was out with my daughter playing in the snow, and they gave us a little honk and a wave. Everybody seems just to be holly jolly plowing snow. And then just to echo a couple things on the masks, I'm very proud to be a part of a council that takes this seriously, that is still willing to do the difficult thing, to continue to forge ahead when we're all sick of it. We're all sick of the pandemic. We're all sick of the response. We're all tired of masking up and pushing vaccinations, but it's the right thing to do. And to anyone, as Amy said, anyone who's got a crossword or a threat that they want to send in, forget doing that. It's not worth your time. You're wasting your breath. Just go get your vaccine, put on a mask when you're in public, and do the best you can for your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Roberts.
I just got two things. Thank you, Harris. That's the $100,000 is an incredible thing we get to do here, and it's great that everybody got a little bit of money this year. But yeah, when it comes to threatening council members, there's zero tolerance for that. And if you're threatening about masks, it probably means you're not doing your part in the community. If that's your part, you think is threatening somebody, yeah, go get the jab or the shot, whatever you want to call it. No vaccines are perfect, but they severely reduce your risk of severe illness, and that's the point of these vaccines. I've said it, I don't know, 25 times, I think, that they don't stop you from getting COVID. What they do is stop you from killing your neighbor, or they stop you from killing your grandma or your niece or nephew or whatever it is. So go get vaccinated. It's not perfect, but it'll do its part. And then we could continue to be, back to some whatever normal is. But yeah, Public Works, you guys, I think we say it every week. You guys are just doing a terrific job. I was out Saturday morning after the snow, and I was shoveling in front of the theater, and they were just in tandem, just doing the best job I've ever seen. Casey Mill can learn a few things.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes, I want to say thank you, echo everyone's comments. Lisa Toll, great job with you, EIC. You took some major hits this year, and I'm still pretty displeased with some of our community members making just really poor choices against certain council members and thinking that it's okay to come against our livelihoods and our families. That's never okay. And I will reiterate, it's never okay to approach any of us by ourselves in a parking lot after we leave a meeting and threaten anyone on this council. If we have to have police escort, I'm sure we could probably make that happen. Thank you for having to extend our resources, but that's not okay. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just kind of ticked off about that, if it's not clear. But yes, thank you to everybody that wrote in advance and spoke up tonight to back us up. We do want to represent the voices of our community. We don't come up here with a specific personal agenda, even though it is personal to many of us. And that's all I have to say.
Councilmember Palumbi.
I wanted to start by saying thank you to Lisa Toll for the nomination, as well as for all the groundwork that you did in getting the EIC going. And I'm excited to take over and to kind of keep doing the good work that you've laid out for us, because I think this committee is really important. And it's something special that this town has that other cities do not. Public Works, I think it's been stated, but you guys are great. Like Adam said, Casey could learn a lot from you as somebody who worked the holiday weekend overnight to assist in the staff shortages at the hospital. It was really nice to have some clear streets when you had to be up in the single-digit temperatures. So thank you for all you do. And then to echo what Jesse Smith said, I am extremely proud to be a part of this council. I think that we have worked extremely well together. I think we've done some big things, and I'm excited to see what else we can do.
Thank you. Councilmember Graves.
Yeah, last but not least, I just want to follow up with something near and dear to my heart, the warming centers that Chief Hargis put a lot of time and effort into working on. I checked with him, and it got a little cold last week. It wasn't too extreme, but it is working. The system that we have in place now has been activated at least once, and I have confirmed with the city that we have used it to transport people that are in need to warming center. So that is exciting and good news. So I know that it hasn't gotten too cold yet, so hopefully, we've had a small test and it worked. So hopefully moving forward, our system is robust and works. Also, following up, I want to welcome Martin and Anna to the EIC. And I have a lot of high hopes for the current membership of the EIC. We have some new, well-qualified, dedicated community members. I'm very excited moving forward to see kind of what they do. I know the first EIC spent a lot of time just kind of establishing their purpose and their mission statement and things along those lines. So they haven't done a whole lot yet, but I'm excited to see what they do this year. And also want to point out that, Roberts and I still are not on a committee, so I think we might just want to form our own committee. So I'm open to ideas. If anybody has an idea, if there's something that you want Roberts and I to take care of, we're available. We're very qualified.
We'll get you an ad hoc committee. We'll figure something.
Yeah. So, we can create something new.
You can be
We're
the
creative.
committee to create committees.
And then I just want to give, positive note, quick shout out. The Art City looks really beautiful during the Christmas time, and I'm proud of the effort that people put into putting all the Christmas lights on the streets. I can see them from where I'm sitting here. The mayor's Christmas tree. And then there's certain streets, too, that I walked down. I wish I could recall the specific blocks, but there was a couple blocks in the avenues specifically that there would be 10 houses in a row that were all lit up and looked really beautiful. So I want to commend everyone that takes the time to decorate their house for the holidays. It's very enjoyable, and our city looks really beautiful during Christmas time. So that's it.
Okay, that leaves me. So we'll start off with a negative one. I know council got an email, and I hope the whole public knows now, but former Mayor Gene Bruns did pass away a couple days ago. He served 27 years in this governing body, at least 12, I believe, as mayor. So his handprints are on a lot of things that, we're dealing with now. That's, keep his family in your thoughts. That's all that's it on that one. On with Public Works. Anthony, I forgot to call on Anthony during staff comments, but I'll get you now. No, appreciate everything Public Works did, cleaning. If we could just do a little MoDOT training on some of their stuff, we'll get you guys out there and start training them. Other than that, it is easy going last when everyone said everything. So we will move on to number 19.
Consideration of a request to hold in recess into an executive session as requested by the interim city administrator to be held on this date on a personnel matter pursuant to Missouri Revised Statutes, Section 610.0213.
Move to approve.
Second.
Very enthusiastic. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I have to call the roll.
I try to get every meeting.
I know. Councilmember Saper,
Yes.
Councilmember Tull,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Palumbi,
Yes.
and Councilmember Graves.
Yes.
I have to catch you on something now and then.
There's plenty of things.
Consideration of a request to hold in recess into an executive session as requested by the interim city administrator to be held on this date on a real estate matter pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute 610.0212.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
Councilmember Tull?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Palumbi?
Yeah.
Councilmember Graves?
Yes.
All right, for everyone watching at home at Channel 2 or on the YouTube channel, the feed will cut off. No further public business will be discussed or any other items voted on this evening. Thank you.